Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down one of the most critical medical emergencies out there, a heart attack. Over the next 5 minutes, we'll cover what it is, why it happens, and what comes after. So let's jump right in. Okay, so first things first, let's get the official name out of the way. Doctors call it a myocardial infarction. I know, it sounds super complicated, but it's actually pretty simple if you break it down. Myo means muscle, cardial is for the heart, and infarction, well, that just means tissue death because it's not getting enough oxygen. So put it all together, and it literally means death of heart muscle. That's what's at stake here. So the big question is, what's actually happening inside your body to cause this? I mean, how does a pipeline that's essential for, keeping you alive suddenly just shut down? Well, you see, a heart attack isn't something that just happens out of the blue. It's not like flipping a switch. It's usually the final dramatic scene in a story that's been quietly unfolding for years, sometimes decades, deep inside the body's most critical plumbing, the coronary arteries. And the main villain in this story, for most people, is a condition called coronary artery disease. You'll hear it called CAD. So picture the arteries that are feeding your heart muscle, right? Over time, all this gunk, fatty deposits, cholesterol, other stuff, can start building up on the inside walls. This buildup is called plaque. So here's how that long-term chronic problem turns into a life-threatening emergency. And it happens in a few steps. First, that plaque just builds up quietly. For years, you don't even know it's there. Then, for some reason, the surface of that plaque can suddenly break open or rupture. Your body, doing what it's supposed to do, sees this as an injury and rushes to form a blood clot to patch it up. But here's the twist. That fix becomes the real problem. The blood clot can grow so fast and so big that it completely blocks the artery. And just like that, the blood flow is cut off. And when that artery gets blocked, the part of the heart muscle it feeds is literally starving for oxygen. It starts to die. And trust me, it does not go down without a fight. The heart starts sending out these desperate distress signals, and those are what we feel as symptoms. Now, we all have this image of the Hollywood heart attack, clutching the chest and falling over. And yeah, chest discomfort is definitely the classic sign, but the body's alarm system can be way more creative than that. You might feel pain spreading to your left arm, your jaw, or even your back. Or it could be something totally different, like all of a sudden you can't breathe, or you break out in a cold sweat, or feel nauseous. The thing to remember is all of these are your body screaming that the heart is in serious trouble. And let's talk more about that chest discomfort, because this is a really, really important point. It's often not that sharp, stabbing pain you might imagine. People who've had one often describe it as a feeling of intense pressure, like an elephant is sitting on your chest, or squeezing, or just a strange fullness that won't go away. And here's something that's honestly kind of scary. Not everyone gets these big, dramatic warning signs. It's possible to have what's called a silent heart attack, with symptoms that are super mild, or even none at all. This is especially a risk for certain groups, like people with diabetes or older folks, which makes knowing all the possible signs just that much more vital. Okay, so recognizing the signs, that's on us. But the second you get help, a whole team of medical pros kicks into high gear. And for them, it is an absolute race against the clock. They have this saying, time is muscle. Every minute that goes by, more heart muscle is lost, forever. So how did doctors know for sure it's a heart attack? They need answers, and they need them fast. They've got two main tools to get a quick look at what's going on. First up is an ECG. That's an electrocardiogram, which basically listens to the heart's electrical activity for any red flags. At the same time, they'll do a blood test. They're looking for these specific proteins called troponins. See, when heart muscle cells get damaged, they leak troponins into the blood. If they find it, it's a huge clue. Look, all of this, the tests, the organized chaos of the ER, the medications, it all comes down to one single critical goal. And that goal has a name. Reperfusion. Fancy word, simple meaning. Get that blood flowing again. Open that artery up as fast as humanly possible. And to do that, doctors basically have two main tools in their toolbox. One is mechanical, the other is chemical. The mechanical fix is called PCI. Think of it like calling in a super specialized plumber. They thread a tiny catheter up to the blocked artery, inflate a little balloon to squash the clot and open things up, and then they usually leave a tiny metal scaffold called a stent to prop the artery open. The other option is the chemical fix, powerful clot-busting drugs or thrombolytics that they inject to just dissolve the blockage. But surviving the heart attack itself, well, that's really just the beginning. This is a massive, life-changing event. The work isn't over. What comes next is a whole new journey, a lifelong process of recovery, management, and really building a completely new, healthier future. So a long-term management plan gets put together, and it's usually built on three main pillars. First, there's medication. Things like statins to get cholesterol under control and antiplatelets to help prevent new clots from forming. Second, and this one's huge, are the lifestyle changes. We're talking a complete overhaul, a heart-healthy diet, getting regular exercise, and absolutely no more smoking. And third, there's support. Programs called cardiac rehab are there to guide people through all these changes and this new reality. So, when you look at what determines someone's outcome after all this, a few things come into play, but the data is crystal clear on one point. There is one factor that matters more than anything else, and that's the speed of treatment. It's the biggest piece of the pie by far, and that, right there, is why knowing the symptoms and acting fast isn't just important, it's everything. So, you see, recovery isn't just a one-time thing. It's not just about getting through the initial crisis. It's this two-part process. You're healing the heart that was damaged, while at the very same time, you're building a whole new, healthier life to make sure this never, ever happens again. So we've covered the science, right? From the plaque that can take years to build to the clot that can form in just a few minutes. But the most important thing to take away from all this isn't just the science. It's a question for you. Knowing what's happening is one thing, but recognizing the signs in yourself or in someone you love and acting in time, that's everything. So the question is, are you prepared to act?